Michael Keaton in talks to return as Batman for the Flashpoint movie, and the rumors are right now is that it will be the Flashpoint movie that he is returning for, and that particular trope that they're going to go for. I am super excited about this. Dude, Keaton nostalgically for me is kind of one of my favorite Batmans. So to kind of go into the article here really quick that I'm reading, this article comes via the Hollywood Reporter, and they basically are saying Michael Keaton, who has famously starred as Cape Crusader in Tim Burton's directed movies, is in talks to reprise the role for Warner Brothers DC movie The Flash. It's as of right now, they are saying Ezra Miller is still on board, which we kind of touched on a little bit last week, and whether that should or shouldn't be, and we can delve into that a little bit in a moment, but I do want to focus on Keaton here. But it also says that he's not just going to return for The Flash, but possibly several other DC-oriented film projects. Sources tell The Hollywood Reporter that the role is being envisioned for the veteran actor to play a role similar to Samuel Jackson's Nick Fury in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So, my question then to you is, what do you think about Michael Keaton coming back, reprising his ever famous role as your t-shirt right there with the old school '89 Batman logo? What do you think about that? Hit me up, man. What do you think?
Oh, I am any way, shape, or form pumped to see Michael Keaton play an aging, broken down Bruce Wayne Batman. It might not be, I'll tell you this, for quite a few years now, I have kind of had my Batman geek fantasy. Now, you got Ben Affleck, which was kind of okay, failed. I like Ben Affleck as Batman. I'm super excited.
I was gonna say, sorry, I just wanted to chime in on that. I thought Affleck's Batman was, in my opinion, one of the best versions as far as showing Batman's brutality and just how cold and calculated and Batman v Superman specifically, though. But anyway, continue. Sorry.
Just you look at all the incarnations of Batman over the years. And I'm sure we'll talk about some in a little bit as far as Joel Schumacher's Batman and stuff and his passing this week. But, I mean, Keaton is the Batman. I will say Christian Bale was probably my favorite Bruce Wayne.
I agree.
He was good as Batman. We could all agree he was good as Batman, but he nailed it as Bruce Wayne. And then you have Keaton, who nailed it as Batman. All around, his Bruce Wayne was relatively good. Ben Affleck was, like you just said, yes, very good as the brutal, dark Batman on on an actual, almost like the definition of a vigilante mission where he's not really caring. And, Christian Bale has morals and he doesn't want to kill people. Ben Affleck, just whatever. Now, Keaton, on the other hand, Keaton really embodied, I think, the darkness of Batman, and especially with Tim Burton as the director of the Batman and Batman Returns, I think they were a great duo. So that being said, my biggest Batman nerd fantasy is that Tim Burton comes back to direct one more epic Batman movie, and they take Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns and do an adapted version of Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns with Michael Keaton as the aging Bruce Wayne Batman and Tim Burton back at the helm. I think that would be an absolutely astounding Batman product.
Dude.
And someone needs to tell Warner Brothers, okay, that's cool that you got Keaton to maybe come back to play like this Nick Fury-esque character and all that. Cool. But really, if you really want him to come back, give him The Dark Knight Returns.
Dude,
give Tim Burton and Michael Keaton The Dark Knight Returns and have them go crazy.
You have sold me on that. I didn't even think of that. Oh my God. My one little fear, and unfortunately, so in The Dark Knight Returns, I think they stole a lot of that thunder in Batman v Superman and the big battle between Superman and Batman. They took a lot of the elements of their fight in Dark Knight Returns and incorporated into that movie. So I don't know if maybe they just ignore that portion of it, because it'd kind of be redundant, right, to have Batman and Superman face off again, or do we just ignore Batman v Superman entirely? But I love where your head's at, dude. I love that idea. My idea and what I'm kind of hoping they get into, and I know this isn't as popular of one, but Batman Beyond, dude. Like,
oh yes, also Batman Beyond.
Batman Beyond. I think that's a trope they can explore. I know they were talking about maybe possibly him being like that kind of character for Batgirl, because I know Batgirl is something that's coming out. But I just, there are so many possibilities with this. And again, with the Flashpoint, being kind of the thing, what it looks like to me is a possibility is that they're going to replace kind of the Thomas Wayne character in Flashpoint with maybe just an aged Bruce Wayne. Because like movie adaptations aren't literal comic book adaptations. Like I think we all can like see that now, that like, I know that's a big complaint about comic book movies from the hardcore comic book junkies, is that they didn't follow the comic books. But to be real, Marvel hasn't followed any of that. Like they make their own stories, and I feel like that could be a definite cool trope that they do with Flashpoint, and having kind of the aged Bruce Wayne coming out of that. And, obviously that would open up the multiverse and DC and just so many opportunities with this. But dude, I am stoked beyond belief. Batman 89 is one of the reasons I am a movie fan. It literally, I remember going to that premiere. I remember seeing that movie in theaters. Batman Returns was another movie I did like. Most people don't. I do. I love Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman, and just
your favorite website, We Got This Covered.
Okay, yeah, lay this on me.
I mean, they just did a story on Michael Keaton coming back for a Batman Beyond movie. They also touched on, Michelle Pfeiffer reportedly in talks to return as Catwoman in The Flash, and Johnny Depp rumored to play the Joker in said Batman Beyond movie starring Michael Keaton.
Do you know We Got This Cover? That would be now, I think, their 5th or 6th Joker that they've labeled just this year. So, yeah, I mean, don't get me started. I can go on forever about that website. They're a joke, by the way. They make up shit. But I would. It would be pretty cool to see Pfeiffer come back as an aged Selena Kyle, especially what you're talking about. If they do the Tim Burton thing. And aged Selena Kyle is part of the Dark Knight Returns storyline. She plays a bit role in that as well. So, and we were talking about HBO Max earlier. If none of you have seen it, the Dark Knight Returns animated feature, part 1 and part 2 on HBO Max is phenomenal. Just phenomenal. And I definitely recommend that to anybody who wants to know about the Dark Knight Returns storyline. That's a great way to jump into it, is that one right there. Guess
what?
Oh, yes.
Your favorite website, We Got This Covered. According to notable leaker Mikey Sutton and the folks at Midnight's Edge, none other than Tim Burton is in the frame to direct the live-action Batman Beyond movie.
I don't think that's true. It's not true. It's not true. But
it's not true.
I'd be down for it. I mean, it'd be cool, but that's not true. Anyway, so going back to the Flashpoint and the Flash movie and all that, that brings up the question then with Ezra Miller. Because we touched on this last week a little bit. Ezra Miller, obviously, everybody's kind of seen that video where he grabbed a woman by the throat, and if you watch the video, some people are like, he shoved her down, he helped her down. But you don't put your hands on people, period. Like, you just don't. And Warner Brothers
it was just a weird interaction.
Yeah, and Warner Brothers has ignored this. Ezra Miller has ignored this. Nobody has said anything about this. And now, with this Keaton news that he's going to be in this Flash movie, and they're saying Ezra Miller is on board. So Ezra Miller, it seems to me that Warner Brothers is going to go on with him as the Flash. What are your thoughts on that?
I really like Ezra Miller. He's an awesome young actor, and that was apparent. I mean, if you saw a movie, there's a movie called We Need to Talk About Kevin from 2010, 2011, where he plays a troubled teenager. It's just an awesome performance from him. It's a very slow burn kind of. I mean, it's a serious movie. We'll just say that.
Yeah.
But awesome performance from Ezra Miller, and then to go from that to Perks of Being a Wallflower, where he was once again just awesome in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
He was, when they announced him as Barry Allen, I was like, yes, that's an awesome choice for Barry Allen. He'll play a great Flash. And so far, everything that he has done in the DCEU, he was one of the better parts of BVS. He was definitely one of the better parts of Justice League.
Yeah.
And I think he had a cameo in Suicide Squad, which was one of the best parts of that horrible movie.
Yeah.
So...
yeah. Yep.
Ezra Miller as the Flash is a great choice, and just the sweeping under the rug kind of that viral video, which, and once again in the video, I mean, who knows what they were talking about beforehand, and who knows what transpired afterhand. Like after the guy cuts the cameras, go, whoa, dude, and the video cuts out.
Yeah.
I mean, what happened after that? Was it no big deal? And the woman was just, okay, no big deal. Oh, Ezra Miller.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows? It was a very weird incident.
So to follow up a little bit on that part, because I think it was Deadline that reported the article. I know this has been a while, so you have to bear with me on this. But they did follow up. Whoever wrote the initial article followed up with the hotel where the bar was, where he was at, and they said it was a serious thing. The police were called, but he wasn't charged with anything. But he was kicked out of the bar. It definitely escalated at a point where it wasn't just, because a lot of people were wondering if it was fake or if it was staged, and so that has been confirmed that it was not fake or staged, that it was a real thing that did happen. My kind of viewpoint on this is kind of what I touched on last week, where I think Warner Brothers just needs to pick a lane, because, they fired Hartley Sawyer from the Flash TV show about tweets that he did 6 years ago. But then, James Gunn, they had no problem bringing him in, and he had tweets. They brought him in instantly as soon as he was fired from Marvel. And now they turn around, and so they're like, oh, Ezra Miller, we're not even going to acknowledge this. And it's just pick a lane. If you're okay with working with people who have, how do we put it, issues, or whatever you want to call it, then be okay with it. If you're not, then unilaterally don't be okay with it. You can't say this guy's okay because he brings us in $500 million a movie, but this guy's not okay because he's just on some piddly TV show. That's kind of where my issue is with Warner Brothers and the way they handle it. As for Ezra Miller as an actor, I think he's great. I think he's phenomenal. I do have to admit I have not seen the movies you had referenced, but I've seen him in other things. I thought he was, say what you want about the Fantastic Beast franchise, I thought he was a good part of it, and he did very well in that role, and that's more of a blockbuster type franchise, which a lot of more people would probably know of him in that, but he's a great actor. I mean, you can't deny the talent. The talent's there. I wish Warner Brothers would kind of choose, a side. You can't. Just don't be wishy-washy about it. You're either social justice warrior. Hey, you're. This is where we're at, or you're not. Get in the pool or get out of the pool. Don't try to dip your toes in the pool. I don't know. I mean, that's kind of my thoughts on that. But I am kind of tying the whole topic up. I am super stoked about Keaton. But all of this comes with a warning. He's just in talks right now. None of this is official. And I feel like a lot of sites, a lot of people like what we're doing now, are like, he's in, it's done. No, it is not done. These are just talks, initial talks. And that could change very quickly. So I think people need to
Yeah.
temper those expectations and whatnot. So, do you
Uh,
have anything
he's
else?
also,
Oh,
yeah,
go
I
ahead.
mean, just bearing in mind, he's 68 years old.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
exactly, exactly. So I mean, what? There's not. What are they going to ask him to do? I think that Nick Fury role is really good for him. But
yeah.
do you have anything else to add to the Keaton topic, or?
Hey, just I hope he does it. I just absolutely hope that we see one more incarnation of Keaton as Batman.
Yeah,
And like I said, I would love to see it as Keaton as Batman and Tim Burton directing. Uh, I guess if it's set in the Flashpoint universe, fine, because that does the Flashpoint universe is a good in for Warner Brothers to kind of take what they're doing with DC because they're all over the map with DC too. With
yeah,
they have their suicide is like the next Suicide Squad movie. Is it a reboot or a sequel?
yeah,
You know,
yeah, and nobody
and
knows, and
nobody
that's.
knows.
I think, like you just hit the nail on the head. I think this is going to be a good way to tie up a lot of those loose ends. They're going to be able to tie up why Batfleck isn't there anymore. They're going to be able to tie up, Aquaman and Wonder Woman and get them all. I know the
Right, right.
Joker. The Joker is going to remain at least Joaquin Phoenix's Joker is going to remain out. They have been steadfast saying that is its own thing, and it's
Yeah,
not.
but that's also the one thing about that movie that I was disappointed with is in the end, spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't seen it, it was a Batman origin story.
Kind of, I
Yeah,
guess.
because Arthur Fleck causes all this mass chaos, and this
Well,
guy
and
is now
they
standing out on the street, and
and we saw
little
what our
Bruce Wayne
sixth
leaves the theater, and
and we saw our sixth iteration of Bruce Wayne's parents dying. So, I mean,
exactly.
I never thought of it that way really, because in that movie that was such a it was almost like they just glossed it. It was like, "Oh, and here's
Yeah,
parents
but
die." And
why?
then
But why?
yeah.
But why? Unless the only reason is to coax Joaquin Phoenix back to do Joker 2.
Well,
Or
here's
is it a backdoor prequel to Matt Reeves's Batman? And then in the third movie, they'll have Robert Pattinson's Batman versus Joaquin's Joker.
I don't think Joaquin's Joker is going to face that Batman. But
You don't think so?
here's my theory. So I got a theory on this. Total theory and conjecture. It's not, but here's my theory.
Right.
Did you watch the Gotham TV series?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I have not.
Well, let's back it.
It's on Netflix now, though.
Yeah,
so.
you should watch it. It's
But go
last
for it.
season. Last season's a piece of shit, but the rest of it's actually pretty good. But anyway, in the comics, right, there are many iterations of the Joker. You have your like maniacal Joker, and then you have more of a reserved Joker, and then they have had different versions of the Joker, which you also see in the Gotham TV show. There are the kind of few different iterations of the Joker, and in the Gotham TV show, they did kind of a cool thing where the Joker started as this one guy who kind of spurred the idea, and then the ideologies then were picked up by the different iterations going forward. So what I think, and then my thought process is that Arthur Fleck's Joker is going to be the inspiration for the Joker that ends up being the villain for Matt Reeves' Robert Pattinson's Joker. That's kind of my thought. It's that Joker hasn't come along yet, and he's going to take his inspiration from what happened with Fleck and then, kind of build from there. He's going to have his insane moment, and that's going to kind of be his inspiration for his persona, and it'll go from there. And then that Batman and that Joker will have their duels and whatnot. I do think, though, that Batman is not going to be part of the DCEU. I don't think they're going to include him. I
Well,
think
and
it's going to be
that's
separate.
kind of the yeah, and I think that you look at Todd Phillips's Joker, which is part of the DC Dark. It's kind of just colloquially called DC Dark.
Yeah.
And Matt Reeves's Batman is also part of the DC Dark. So it's not. So now we have the DCEU,
Yeah.
the DC Dark,
Yeah.
and now whatever DC Flashpoint universe or multiverse, whatever the Flashpoint multiverse, which is kind of which even might even kind of parallel what Spider-Man did with Into the Spider-Verse,
Mm-hmm.
and just how things are, one character can access these different universes and whatnot, and all the other characters in it are just populating.
Yeah, well, and I mean that's also like should they even go into the multiverse? Is this going to start confusing like casual fans? Like, there's so much. I'm excited for it because as a geek, like I'm like, whoa, but like, is the casual fan gonna be like, all right, this is getting a little ridiculous?
All right, well, right. It doesn't make any sense. There's 3 different Batmans, 2 different Jokers.
Yeah. So anyway, to kind of wrap this topic, what do you guys at home think? Do you think that are you excited for having, Keaton back as the Batman? Do you think, kind of like Ryan was saying, where they're going to delve into maybe the Dark Knight Returns? Do you think kind of more like I was talking about with Batman Beyond? What do you think about the Flashpoint stuff? Let us know in the comments below your thoughts on that. And we're going to move on to the next topic because we could probably talk about that one forever. So,
that's its own episode.
Yeah. But